Hi everyone and welcome back to the 343 Football Podcast. You'll notice that your host Jaffer is back this week alongside Kodama and Daoud and Ali. Everyone say
hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I'll read.
Yeah, so I've missed doing this, to be honest, but I did enjoy listening to a couple of the guests that were in addition in recent weeks, and the topic of conversation as well, centering with them, like the Scottish podcast that we did a couple of times. And I'm sure the Rangers fan is really happy to listen to this, that we discussed his team positively.
Yeah, and we should probably welcome you guys back as well.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I'm glad to be back, and it is going to be a little bit different today because we aren't actually in the studio. We're doing this online. We've got the Google Meet set up and we've got Audacity set up. We haven't joined Zoom like most people are. But yeah, so apologies if there's any kind of audio quality issues this week instead of bad take issues for anyone listening. But we'll make our best of it and see how it goes. So how's everyone doing?
Yeah, not bad.
Fucking tired.
Everybody's well?
Not bad. Just tired of football, to be honest. None and void the season.
None and void the season.
Newcastle fan.
We might as well dive right into it.
Bruce in.
Because our first topic of conversation this week is going to be the Steve Bruce debate. It's been a long-standing opinion of Newcastle fans that they don't want Bruce as manager. Me personally, I didn't want him as manager the day he was appointed. So now it seems as if the media and the general public are catching up. We're on an 8-game winless streak. The football's as dire as ever. And last night we made history again by losing to a team that hadn't even won a game all season in Sheffield United, hadn't even kept a clean sheet all season in Sheffield United. So I do want to go to my fellow Newcastle fan first on this one, Khodem. Don't talk to me about the match itself, but please talk to me about Steve Bruce. What's going on here? Can we do anything? Is it just time to sack him, or is there even any hope at the end of the tunnel with this guy?
Steve Bruce is stealing a living as a Premier League manager. His tactics are outdated. His training methods seem to have ran the players into the ground even before COVID. Muscle injuries crept back into the squad immediately after Rafa left. The football's hard to watch, and the way he handles the media is even worse. Just always constantly belittling the team, making them seem out like they're underdogs, where our squad should actually be challenging for, if I'm being realistic, a 12th to 8th finish, really, with our squad. We've spent money since Rafa left, and he's just holding the team back, really. There's nothing positive to say about his tenure at Newcastle. And the match yesterday just exacerbated it even. Well, it reached a point. It hasn't reached a tipping point, but like you say, the media and other fans are starting to take pity on us, whereas before they were trying to tell us that we should be grateful and praising Bruce to the high heavens.
Yeah, I mean, we all know about his terrible football, so I don't want to focus too much on that one today. I did want to. You mentioned on it briefly when you said about the things he's saying in the media. This week he came out and said, "Oh, it's all about this new word, rotation, that I'm hearing about." So I want to ask you guys: is rotation a new concept in football, or is Steve Bruce something they're revelatory?
Well, rotation is some managers' bread and butter, really. I mean, you look at the top managers. You got Pep Guardiola, who's notorious for rotating sometimes too much. So, and that's brought him success. It's not like it's a new concept, but tactics, as Steve Bruce says, is not something he does. So who knows what else he doesn't do around the training ground?
And initially, Chelsea were the club that used to have the biggest size of first team players that they were constantly rotating. And now, obviously, Man City in the recent times, where all they do is buy superstars just to keep on rotating, and they kind of have a set first team for the cup runs, the Premier League, and the Champions League, and you see familiar faces only in certain competitions, unless it's obviously a tactical decision, which Pep recently has been getting he hasn't been doing too well in the Champions League, especially.
Remember that Guardiola and Steve Bruce are two different coaches at two different clubs. Let's get back to talking about Newcastle and how bad Steve Bruce is doing.
Yeah, I mean, the next thing he mentioned in his press conference, I did want to also mention, he said that he used Ryan Fraser and Sean Longstaff as two false number 10s. Can you guys talk to me? What's the concept of two false number 10s?
Exactly. The false 9, made popular by Guardiola again, like to mention him, but false 10s, that's a new one for me. Steve Bruce is elevating the game. He's evolving it, single-handedly. I've never even heard of one false 10, let alone two false 10s.
But you never see 10s anymore. The traditional 10 has gone out of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Steve Bruce is the innovator, isn't he? He's bringing two false ones instead.
No wonder Ozil's not getting any football right now. So
Now
freaking hell.
we'll touch on Ozil later on, but just keep it on Newcastle. I think what Bruce has done is he's probably bought some like new toilet paper that's got like football phrases on. So he's just looking, oh, okay, false number 10. I'll just use that next time, see how that goes. And as it happens,
Do you think he gets his jokes from the penguin bars, the penguin chocolate bars?
How was the penguin chocolate?
I think he probably eats those chocolates with the wrapper still on, to be honest. Can't imagine him going... He just probably dives straight in. Honestly.
To be honest, lads, for me, supporting Newcastle has been a lifetime of just mediocrity, to be honest, especially since Ashley came in. I was lucky enough to have maybe a couple of years in my formative years supporting the team where he wasn't there still. And the team was always never the best in the country, don't get me wrong. But there was always an ambition to be amongst the best, like whether that was being in the UEFA Cup, whether that was challenging for the Champions League. The league title challenges were a little bit before my time, too young back then. But like I feel like Steve Bruce encapsulates the lack of ambition perfectly as a manager. And not only that though, like with Ashley, he's appointed some baffling choices. You know, like John Carver being kept as manager till the end of the season. Steve McLaren. We actually waited for Derby County, waited until Steve McLaren wasn't going to be there, then took him on. So
Joe Kinnear as well.
Kinnear coming in from the Wild. I remember when Joe Kinnear was hired, I didn't even know how to react because I'd never even heard of him. Had anyone heard of Joe Kinnear when he was hired as Newcastle manager?
No idea.
No, but all the Newcastle fans did kind of warn us, and their reaction said it all. And the younger fans soon learned why.
He used the F word like 52 times in one press conference, I think, when he first came in. So he made a baffling first impression. And the football never got any better. So it's a bleak moment right now, and I think our fixture list is quite tough coming on. So I think the next time we'll focus on Newcastle, it might be a case of a club in the relegation zone. Would you not agree, Ali? Is that where we're headed?
Nah.
You don't think?
No, the teams will owe you a lot worse. That's the way I see it. You've got some quality players which will get you out of that. I don't think Newcastle get relegated. They'll be there or thereabouts, but I don't see him getting relegated.
What about the performance we just put in against a 2-point Sheffield United, though? Is that not signs of worse things to come?
I don't know. Sheffield United, yeah, they beat Newcastle, so did Derby County. You still got relegated, so who gives a crap about Sheffield United?
Well,
if you look at the other teams which are in the relegation zone, do you think they're going to be on top of Newcastle? Will they be above them? Heck no. So,
I mean, who's to say? We barely scraped past Fulham, and at the time we played them, they were looking very bad. We had a very lucky win against West Brom, so with Steve Bruce, anything can happen. I mean, look at when we went down under McLaren, we had a much better team, and even as hard as it is to say, a better manager. But when things don't go your way, a few bad results and morale drops, I can see us easily getting if we're already dragged back into the relegation battle. I can see us not making it out.
I genuinely think Sheffield United needed this game to get their run going. The amount of times that the commentators and the pundits were saying they were playing like they were in European football. They were playing football that it just seemed everything that they were doing was right, and they were just unlucky that they didn't score more goals. And Darlow had a pretty decent match in goal, and it just seems like it's only decent because he keeps on getting a lot of shots thrown at him. So he's got plenty of time. He's got plenty of shots to shine, let's say. I think Sheffield United might be on an upwards run at the moment, and with Newcastle, it just shows that Bruce Ball. It's like playing Mourinho park the bus 24/7 with no actual outlet for a counter attack whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean,
but despite the fans, being upset about the state of the team, and even now the media starting to put pressure on Bruce, do you actually see him ever getting sacked before we're in the relegation zone? I mean, there was an article that was released by the Chronicle, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but Mike Ashley is kind of reluctant to spend the money it takes to, buy Bruce out of his contract or however sacking someone works, and he's still banking on the takeover coming in before he makes any, big decisions around the club.
Well, he didn't hesitate to pay $4 million to get Steve Bruce out of Sheffield Wednesday, so it's kind of ironic that he doesn't want to pay the money to get him out of Newcastle. Yeah, I don't think that he'll be sacked until the relegation is not just a possibility, but like a genuine threat. So we'll be languishing in 18th or 19th. and there'll be like 11 or 12 games left to save the season. It's always what Ashley does. Like, as long as the person who's in charge is a yes man and you won't challenge Ashley's authority, he'll keep him around. And only the threat of relegation is probably what's going to cost that manager their job. So I don't see Ashley treating Bruce any differently. If anything, I think Ashley is hoping and praying that there's going to be a form turnaround, just so that he doesn't have an excuse to actually need to contemplate sacking Bruce, I'm afraid.
I can't see Newcastle getting sold during COVID because Ashley is so stubborn. He won't take anything less than what he wants, even with all the coronavirus. Itself being a financial restriction, making money for the club, and I'm guessing Ashley probably wants to milk it as much as he can and try and get an even better deal. And that's the problem as well with it. You're saying he's a yes man. Steve Bruce will probably still be there as long as they're in the Prem, because that for him in the overall grand scheme of things is the thing that will actually try and get him to sell the actual club.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sorry, Ali, go for it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, if you look at what he did to another club in Scotland, Rangers, he was at the time when Rangers went in administration, and he was trying to milk Rangers Football Club as well. So Rangers fans kind of see where the Newcastle fans have come from that perspective.
He's a shrewd businessman.
He's good at what he does. He's going to bring money in and keep profit margins high, but he's terrible when it comes to football itself.
He is, but then he goes and sanctions a 40 million transfer for one Joe Linton. How good with money can he be? Do you know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, he's off his trolleys, though, to be honest.
What you're saying, Ali, I agree, and because Dan mentioned it, I think, on the previous podcast, because I think you guys briefly talked about the Ashley influence at Rangers. It wasn't the longest segment, but it was an interesting listen. And for me, for once, I don't even direct most of my anger at Ashley, because this is our 4th season into the Premier League since promotion, and when you look at the likes of what Wolves have done, what Southampton have done, what Leicester have done after gaining promotion, they don't just consolidate themselves as Premier League sides, they actually become part of the entertaining identity of the league. They go and compete in Europe. Leicester had that miracle run of winning the league, and now they're trying to challenge for the Champions League, just narrowly missing out last year. So when you look at all these clubs who, at the time that I started being conscious of football and the standings of all these teams, they were on a much, much lower pedestal than Newcastle. And it doesn't take a miracle to come into the Premier League and show yourself as a threat. Whereas Newcastle just seem to be happy to exist as a club in the Premier League. Our football is easily the most boring. You can't tell me that it's not. And there's nothing about the team at all that I think would get neutrals to say, I'm going to tune into Newcastle this week, see what they're going to do. They've got some exciting players. We actually do have a good team this time, but they're playing well below their potential thanks to Steve Bruce. And I think that to me is the biggest cause of consternation and why I want him out immediately.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the debate, maybe we can have this another time, but who would you even bring in, or who would even want to take over
I would mention Eddie Howe.
Steve Bruce? Eddie Howe is a good shout, but the reputation of the club was tainted even further once Rafa left, and then Steve Bruce was 11th choice for the job after being unable to secure the other candidates.
The best part of Eddie Howe would be that he already knows Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser's game inside out, so you've already got an advantage there, knowledge of the squad.
But didn't he have a falling out with Fraser?
No. Fraser's just it was a falling out, but I don't think it was a falling out based on Eddie Howe.
It was because he didn't want to play football when obviously COVID was happening. He was running out of a contract, so he didn't want to extend his contract in case he got an injury.
I tell you what,
where it come from?
He didn't want to play football last night. The way he got them 2 yellow cards, man. What happened, Ali, was
they were the most stupidest.
Sorry,
Dad,
I'll let you have this one. But...
No, I'm just interjecting in the pauses. Sorry, carry on.
No, go for it. Yeah, what do you think of the fouls?
I honestly saw them and I just thought they were just so mindless.
What did you think of the fouls?
It seemed like a player he didn't even want to be on the pitch.
I think is.
Can you hear me, Jaff?
Yeah.
I think there's been a bit of a delay, which is probably the first teething issue that we're having with this recording format. Apologies, Dad. I think your audio cut off a little bit there. But I did get the gist of what you were saying, that they were incredibly dumb fouls. So basically, Ali, because I know you asked me about this before we started recording, he just went in for 50-50s that weren't necessary. Like, sometimes, if you really want to win the ball and you want to win it in an attacking area, I can understand why someone would foul just out of a rush. But they were in our defensive third. McGoldrick was passing backwards, not forwards, so there was no need for him to kick him. And it was just really...
City setting off, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
pretty
much.
much.
And it made me
Damn.
consider, like, does Fraser actually want to play for Bruce? I think Bruce is starting to lose the players a little bit, but we'll see how that
The thing is,
manifests in the weeks to come.
how can you respect Steve Bruce as a coach when he hasn't accomplished much in obviously the managerial aspect? You know, if you had someone like Rafa Benitez, like he did previously, I think it would have been a different game. You know, okay, this guy's won Champions Leagues with Liverpool. He's won stuff at Napoli. He's won something with Chelsea. You know, even the Chelsea board hated him, the players, the staff weren't that keen on him, and the fans, he still won a Europa League with Chelsea. It just shows you how great Benitez was and what sort of job he did for Newcastle.
Such a valid point, because part of having patience with a manager is if you've got a manager with a proven track record, you're like, well, yeah, it's going to take some time, but he knows what he's doing. Whereas with Bruce, his track record is being, I think, the lowest win percentage of any manager who's managed more than, I don't know, like 8 seasons in the Premier League or something like that. I haven't
Yeah.
got the stat specifically in front of me. But yeah, so it's one of those things, and I am a little bit talked out of Bruce. I do want to move us on to the next segment there, which is Mesut Ozil, a player who is
Bruce couldn't get him in for that number 10 position.
Oh, the false number 10. I think he'd be perfect for it. He's been playing false footballer since September. Yeah, so we've talked about Ozil a couple of times recently, mostly to do with the fact that he wasn't registered in the squad and if Arsenal could use him, whereas I think now we have our answer. They don't want him, and he doesn't want to be there anymore. So his next destination, just going off the transfer rooms, looks to be Fenerbahce. What do we think of that?
I love it.
Well, he'd easily be the best player in the league if he went. I think, yeah, I'm for it. I think it's much needed, notoriety for the league. Help the league grow. He's got a massive following still. Both back in Germany and Turkey and even in England. Like, he's still got a lot of fans, a lot of people on his side. But also, it'd be nice to just see him on the pitch again. He's always one of those players that just seems to have that magic touch, can make things happen. So if he can go back to, falling in love with football again and actually, making things happen on the pitch, that'll be good for everyone. It seems like a win-win situation. Just get him out of Arsenal, out of that toxic environment, and just back to where he wants to be. Really.
If you look at his social media,
for me, it's all.
Jaffa, go for it.
Sorry, Ali, you go.
No.
We're talking a little. I think it's probably the format, to be honest, lads. No, I was just going to say I agree about bringing notoriety to the league. I mispronounced that pretty badly there. For me, it's like I just think I don't like it when a player makes this move before they've kind of passed their peak. Like, if Ozil was 35 and doing this move, I'd be like, yeah, that's fair enough. It's pretty cool going back to your homeland and all that kind of thing. But I just think a player like him shouldn't be packing it in at a high level yet. And I wish another team was taking their chance on him. That's the only thing I feel with Ozil.
I disagree with that.
Anyone can afford him, though. Really, his wages.
Go on, Ali.
Right. Fenerbahce can't afford him either. They're having some FFP issues. It was in the news recently, actually, if you want to look into that. With Ozil, I think he deserves to go back to Turkey and enjoy his life. He loves Turkey. He's always posting about Turkey on his social media. He's got obviously a relationship with the President Erdogan. Go back there. What he accomplished. He's played for Real Madrid. He's won some trophies there. He's won the FA Cup a few times with Arsenal. He's won a damn fucking World Cup. Let him go back. What else has he got to prove?
Yeah, it's true, but I think what Jaffa was trying to say was that Ozil still has a lot to offer at the top level of football, and Fenerbahce,
I agree.
On that, really, let's be real. So, you want to see the best players in the best leagues and the best competitions?
I get
that.
Turkish
clubs have this history of...
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it works out.
Right, Dowd, go for it.
I think
before
everyone's just talking over each other.
Man, this is crazy. Dowd, go for it.
I was basically saying a lot of technical issues. Hopefully we're going to get better at this. I was basically just saying that don't Turkish clubs have a history of signing players on short contracts with really big wages?
Yeah, they do.
It's happened plenty of times before. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if that happens again with Ozil. But
it's not
feels like he wants to be there. Maybe he'll be willing to take on lower wages to make it happen. You never know. It's not like it's never happened before where a player takes a wage cut to join somewhere he wants to be.
I think the discussion of Fenerbahce, the team, because Turkish clubs have always either had an impact one season in the Champions League or in the Europa League, whereas it feels like in the last couple of years, their impact in Europe has faded a little bit. So I'm wondering if hopefully, well, apart from Istanbul Başakşehir, who seem to be making strides quite strongly, and just narrowly, what did they narrowly miss out on progression from the Champions League group, or is it just because they beat Man United that I feel that way? But yeah,
No, they just beat Man United.
yeah, there you go.
That's
But
all
I think
it was.
with Fenerbahce, of course, it's a very proud club, and I think it was a couple of seasons back where they were like really close to getting relegated, if I'm not mistaken. So possibly they're trying to kind of boost not just as you said for them, the league's profile, but their own. See if they can maybe challenge for the league and try and make some headway in the Champions League as well.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see and definitely exciting to watch. But also, it's not a done deal. You know, he might be ending up somewhere else. I think he tweeted as well about playing in the MLS or somewhere he wants to go.
He wants to go to DC United. That was another rumour going around. But what it looks like, everything's indicated going to Turkey with social media. Plus, he needs to see this from a professional aspect and see how much money he's going to make before he retires. So, what makes sense for him as well.
If that's the case, would he not be better off going to the MLS? It's probably a more guaranteed money, isn't it, than Turkey?
It is, but after Turkey can go to the MLS, that's the way I see it. He has those options.
So he's basically like setting up the perfect retirement package, isn't he? by doing that.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that. I see what he's done. He's done complete bits for Arsenal. He's done great for Germany, even though he's been scapegoated so many times. What else does he need to prove? That's the way I see it.
No,
and it's not like money's an issue for him. He can choose whatever league he wants. He sat on his ass for Arsenal making 350 grand a week, so I'm sure he can afford a bit of a pay cut to go somewhere he wants to be.
But one thing I want to say about that is Arsenal fans here whinge and complain about that. And what about when Arsenal sacked so many members of staff? I want to know what's going on there. They're going to sack their mascot, Gunnosaurus or whatever he's called. Also paid for his wages for the year.
Justice for Gunnosaurus.
That's his staff member.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just sounds so funny, man. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Arsenal. They're sacking their backroom staff. Gunnosaurus first.
Fucking twat.
Pray for Gunnosaurus. He sounds like a BoJack. He sounds like a BoJack Horseman character.
I mean, he looks like one as well, to be fair. That's another interesting dynamic. I think Ozil just needs to be out of that environment, and he wants to be, and Arsenal want him out. It's just a win-win for him to go back to Fenerbahce, somewhere he wants to be. But like you say, it is a shame that we won't see him. I mean, how many of us watch the Turkish league regularly to be seeing him week in, week out?
Excuse me.
Check out BT Sports, you can see it.
Yeah, I actually watch some of the big matches.
You said,
yeah, I'm sure you do.
Why was that so Geordie that you said that?
It's because Kodama genuinely thinks I don't watch enough European football.
What the fuck's going on here?
I mean, I don't want to bring it up, but I watch quite a lot of European football. So just point it out there. Anyways,
no, fair enough. I'm sure you'll watch plenty of us at Fenerbahce.
Yeah, no,
coming to you for the updates.
A lot of Leipzig.
Just to go back to
Dowd. Wait, Dowd. Who won the Turkish Super League last season?
It was.
Are you searching it up or not? I want to know that first.
Besiktas. It was Besiktas. Look, my hands. You can see my hands in the cam.
Are you saying
you got it wrong then?
Yeah.
You've got it wrong, mate. It was Istanbul Başakşehir. There you go.
Yeah.
Watch this Turkish league. My fucking arse.
I was in the right.
Sit down.
I was in the right city.
Let Jaffa get back to what he needs to talk about.
I was in the right city, man.
For fuck's sake.
Nah, you got
5 teams in Istanbul. What are you on about? Shut up.
You got exposed there, Dowd. There's no two ways about it.
It's funny though, just to touch onto it, it's funny how they won the league last season, but they're massively struggling this season. It's a weird team, Istanbul, Başakşehir.
I think also the Turkish league is probably volatile in nature, isn't it? There's no one dominant.
Yeah.
One of those things. But just to kind of wrap up on the Ozil discussion, because I just want to say what Ali said to me when he said, he there's nothing wrong with Ozil going to have a nice, just play to get paid, and there's no not to compete. Yeah, in one sense, you're absolutely right. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I just think, that's the easy route for a footballer like Ozil. He's already achieved a lot of things. I think is it just the Champions League, isn't it? The major trophy that he hasn't won.
Yeah,
And the
it
Europa
seems
League,
like the
I
Champions
consider
League.
that too. Obviously, he's not going to lose any sleep for not winning the Europa League. It's I just think that Ozil he could still be a contributor to a high level team at a Champions League team. So for him to take that route, it disappoints me a little bit. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with it from his decision point of view. That's absolutely fine. I just wanted to see him, compete a bit more.
Yeah, agree.
I mean,
Can we wrap up the Ozil situation?
yeah, of course. So the next segment I want to talk about. So PSG sacked Thomas Tuchel recently and hired Pochettino in his place. A move that, to be honest, I didn't really see the Tuchel sacking coming. Like them hiring Pochettino makes a lot of sense, but Thomas Tuchel leaving, did that surprise anyone?
I saw
Actually,
it. I saw it from a mile away.
Ali actually called it 2 weeks beforehand.
I called it miles away, man.
Yeah.
Leonardo and Tuchel were having issues off the pitch, obviously with signings or whatever, and there was some like beef going on. It was like Crips and Bloods, so it was really weird. So they were there giving interviews, slagging each other off. So it was about to come, and if you're working under Leonardo, you better work with that guy because he was at AC Milan sacking people, and he came back to PSG sacking managers which weren't working well with him. And I think Poch will work well there because he played for the club. He knows the club inside out, and I think he knows what their ambitions are. That Champions League trophy, the Gareth Bale trophy of those years.
Can't argue with that.
It was a bit weird to see the similarities between Poch's the end of his time at Tottenham and Tuchel's end of his time at PSG, where they both made the Champions League final just before they didn't win it. They started off the league a bit slowly. Granted, PSG's position wasn't as bad as Pochettino's when he started off the season after the Champions League final, but easier league and much bigger favourites. But both ended up the players just seem to lose momentum once they lose the Champions League final. I wonder if that's going to be a thing from now on, where the team that doesn't win the Champions League final just ends up losing the energy, and the manager gets the sack a few months later.
Like the World Cup curse. You know how every team just drops into group stages from the World Cup and they don't win it.
Yeah, similar to that. So
like that,
it's 2 seasons in a row now. It'll be interesting to see who doesn't win the Champions League this season.
So Liverpool, who lost the final in 2018, then won it in 2019. It books that trend.
That was before this. That was before. Before.
Man, that was my guy Karius making blunders like me on this podcast.
So for me, you mentioned that the Pochettino appointment is more towards, can they finally win the Champions League? But do you guys think he's also got a challenge to win the league this year? I mean, in recent seasons, it's been a given, hasn't it, that it's going to be PSG's to lose. But right now, Lyon are top, the same games played, they're only on top by 1 point. Do you think it's just a formality that, by default, PSG is going to win it anyway? Or is Lyon a serious threat there?
No, I think PSG will.
Some players.
Sorry, Ali, you go ahead.
Nah, ladies first.
All right, then you stop.
No, that's why I'm letting you go.
All right, fair enough.
I'll assign this.
I'll take the courtesy.
Oh, go on.
I'll take the courtesy.
Go on.
I was going to say that I don't see them not winning the league. I think Neymar's back tonight. I think for the cup final, and he's been out for a while. And once he's back into the team, they're just going to steamroll pretty much everyone. So I think come May or whenever the season finishes, if it does finish at all, I think they'll be top comfortably as usual.
Yeah, I mean, but Lyon look legit. I mean, PSG have lost 4 games in the league so far. Lyon have only lost the 1. Dow, do you not think that they've got what it takes to win the title?
I do, and I feel like it's because Poch will. It's purely because Poch will take time to get PSG to what he wants them to play as. It took a while for Poch to actually get Spurs up and running. And I think the only difference will be is, one, money is probably a lot more readily available for the Poch project, and 2, the players, the potential, the breadth, the width is there already for PSG to work with, compared to what you had initially starting with Tottenham. And Tottenham, it was a project for him. And to be honest with you, a lot of the players that have come through, he's nurtured to becoming as good as they have been, and it'll be interesting to see what he can do with PSG.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm glad that you've mentioned his squad options, because one rumor that's always been around PSG is that Mbappe is just there until a couple of seasons, and then Real Madrid will be a big transfer for him. Considering that Real Madrid, Benzema's probably only got a couple of seasons left at the top, if that. And obviously, everyone knows not just the potential of Mbappe, but the current ability of Mbappe. He's ready to contribute. So, do you think the appointment of Pochettino is going to safeguard some of PSG superstars like Neymar and Mbappe will stick around because it's Pochettino, or is he not really that big of a name, to keep that squad together?
No, I don't see it happening.
Yeah,
the allure of Barcelona and Real Madrid will always be there. And, Real Madrid have snatched players from Liverpool, from Man United at their peak, from Bayern Munich. They'll just always be the biggest club in football. And it doesn't matter who you have at the helm. If Real Madrid come knocking, you're probably going to answer that call.
I would have to correct you saying Man United are obviously the biggest football club in the world, but yeah.
Oh, shut up about Manchester United. Nobody cares, right? Look, I want to make his point before we do to discuss anything else. You did discuss Lyon can't be challenging for the league. I don't think that, because they might be losing players, like Depay might be going to Barca, unless they want to lose them on a free transfer. And obviously, Ligue 1 aren't getting the same sponsorship that they were getting before.
To be honest,
so I can see Lyon losing some players.
It's very topical that you've just mentioned that there, because tonight they lost Moussa Dembele to Atletico Madrid and brought in Islam Slimani, so already there's a chance.
There we go.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Nobody cares about Manchester United, Dowd, so don't talk about it, and I'm always right.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
No.
Okay, what about then the key question with PSG is, does the appointment of Pochettino significantly boost their hopes of winning the Champions League?
Yes, I think it does. I think he's a great manager. He knows how to get a team, to mould them into the way he wants to play. We saw what he did at Southampton, we saw what he did at Tottenham. It might take time, but like Dowd mentioned, that the money is more readily available, so maybe that project will accelerate the project. And to be honest, I don't actually hate PSG the same way a lot of fans do. That they bought their success. They're an exciting team. I love watching Neymar, unbelievable player. And I think I'd like to see them win the Champions League. As a Newcastle fan, I don't really have any dog in the fight, so I don't really want anyone to win it. But there's some clubs, Manchester United, that I'd never want to see win. But everyone else, I don't really care.
They took care of that for
Nobody likes Manchester United here.
Yeah, they took care of that by bottling their group for us, and we're all very grateful for that. To be honest, I'm going to disagree a bit though. I actually think that Thomas Tuchel, he got close enough with the final. Yes, it was different circumstances with them, being one-legged ties rather than two-legged. But Pochettino isn't a notorious winner at this stage of his career. Yes, he's a very talented manager, and I won't discredit anything that he's accomplished. But the art of winning trophies, it's not so easy to come by. And PSG, I don't think they're ready. And Pochettino, I think he probably needs a couple of key world-class additions into that team first. I don't think they'll win it this season, just to kind of make that prediction from now.
I don't think they'll do it this season, but I do think it can happen under Pochettino for sure.
I don't think Manchester United will win this season either.
They're going to have to retain Mbappe and Neymar and add some talent on, I think, in order for Pochettino to make that happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it'll be an interesting one to keep an eye out. Now, I do want to hand over the hosting duties to Qudama temporarily, because we've got the next segment coming up. We're just going to, do something a little bit different. We're going to play a little bit of Would You Rather. So Qudama said he's got some prepared for us. So, yeah, let's hear them.
Yeah, I mean, we've all dreamt of being footballers. We all still dream of being footballers, let's be honest. So I've got some questions that would be proposed in the position as if you were a footballer. What would you, or some of them are as a fan as well, to be fair, but just to see what your take, how you'll answer these would you rather questions, pretty simple format. So, we'll take it in turns. You guys, can explain your reasonings for picking one. So yeah, I'll start off with the first one. Right. So this one's maybe more of a question for Jaffer, as, Dowd and Wakar already support Champions League participate in teams, but say your team makes Europe for the first time and possibly the last time in a while. Would you rather get an easy group to progress, or get all the glamorous ties like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, PSG, and that sort of mold?
I don't even think about that one. Easy group to progress, man, because you're right. There is the prestige of facing big teams and things like that. But at the end of the day, the one thing that I always want for Newcastle United going into every single season is winning a trophy. And it's a very unrealistic expectation, as we know. But yeah, if Newcastle were to miraculously qualify for the Champions League, I don't care about Barcelona. Give me Dinamo Kiev, give me Ludogorets, give me Slavia Prague, all those unfashionable.
Give you Manchester United, yeah?
Oh, well, the rules would not permit that since they'll be from the same nation. But yeah, just give me all the easy ties
Okay, fair enough.
and get Newcastle to progress. And then we'll smash Man United in the final. That's my dream. There you go.
Oh, fair enough. What about you, Ali? I mean, you're a Liverpool fan, so you want an easy group, or do you want harder groups to, keep it
Easy
interesting?
Group, hard group, does it really matter? Liverpool have had both. Had easy groups, struggled to get out of them. Had hard groups and came out of them pretty easy. So for a Liverpool fan, I don't give a crap.
Fair enough. I want to ask Dowd, but they got an easy group this year and didn't manage to progress. So I don't know. What's your take on that?
I refuse to comment. I plead the fifth.
Bring on the next.
All right, fair enough. All right, so this is a tough one that I found, and I don't really know how to answer this. Would you rather, as a football player, say you make it professional, would you rather peak very highly for a short period of time, say 2 seasons, 3 seasons at the most, or would you rather remain slightly above average for the majority of your career? So, like, to give you maybe a Kaka where his peak was really high and then injuries plagued the rest of his career, or maybe I don't know, a James Milner, he's won trophies, he's been consistent for years. Who would you rather pick? Whoever wants to go first.
First on this one. Oh, sorry, Dowd. Go on, you go first for this one, Dowd. Go on.
Sorry, Jeff. I want to peak, and the only reason why is I still remember Swansea's peak strikers. Obviously, Michu. Nice to meet you. And when Bonnie was an absolute beast. And I honestly, I can't get those seasons out of my head. So I'd rather be playing for a mid-level to bottom-tier club and having absolute class season for a couple of seasons and being integrated into the history books of that town or city.
Well, fair enough. It's an interesting way of looking at it. What about you, Jaffa? You can go next.
Yeah, to me, I definitely want the short peak because I want to be on the Streets Won't Forget YouTube compilation video. That's going to be the whole. No, I am being serious though. But the only thing that scares me about that question is, after I reach that peak, am I going to be an absolutely terrible meme of a footballer, or can I just be a standard player that plays for Brighton every week and nobody even notices them? Or am I just going to be someone who's laughed at for how bad I am after how I was really class for a couple of seasons? So yeah, this scares me.
I mean, it depends, isn't it? I mean, it could be injuries like Kaka, or and Ronaldo, the Brazilian, or it could be absolute memes like Royston Drenthe at Real Madrid, where promising youth career and then absolute meme of a footballer afterwards. So it's a dangerous one to take. What about you, Ali?
I'd peak early. Obviously I was born in Newcastle, but I'm a Liverpool fan. The footballer which got me into football was Michael Owen. He's a bit of a dingbat right now, but he was one quality player, man. That guy. I want to be Michael Owen when I was a kid. I want to be him. Girls wanted to be with him. That's it.
He's always been a bit of an odd bloke. He doesn't even like movies, man.
Yeah, but he was the last Englishman to win a Ballon d'Or. So
it's been probably because of his injuries. He was injured most of his career. He had plenty of time to watch enough movies in his lifetime.
I think
that might be it.
With the example of Michael Owen, he's an example of a guy who did have a short peak, but it was longer than a couple of seasons. He was world class for at least 7-8 seasons before his decline.
Yeah.
True. All right, on to the next one. Would you rather lose the league on the last day of the season, absolute heartbreak, and your rivals lose the Champions League final in the same season, or would you rather win the league on the final day of the season, but then see your rivals win the Champions League that following in the same season? Ali, you can go first.
Man, would I want to see another team win the Champions League more than Liverpool? Do I want that? That's the thing. I'd probably go for the first option, just because I've been through that already. You know what I mean? So Like
Yeah,
Liverpool
I
have
guess.
lost the league many times on the last day or like the last week of the season, and they went on and won like trophies and whatnot. So I'd go with that because that's what I've had as an experience of a Liverpool fan.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess you can speak from experience on that one. What about you, Jacko?
It's a tough one because you're asking me to shift the dynamic of Newcastle and Sunderland completely from clubs who usually laugh at each other because the other got relegated, now to clubs who would be bragging over the other because one of them won a more coveted competition. Like, as much of a dream world as a dramatic Newcastle League win would be, I don't want to then tune in a week later and see Sunderland lift the Champions League trophy. I think that would be too much for me to handle, and it would probably dilute the Newcastle achievement somewhat as well. So yeah, I would rather lose it, to be honest. I don't want to see any Mackems loving life and winning the Champions League. Hell no, not for me.
Oh, wow, fair enough.
That's how I feel.
It's a brave decision, you know. I think I would still take the league title. I think it's enough consolation for me. Yeah, I mean, it's enough consolation. I mean, you know, I can cry about it to my...
Fuck that. Fuck my rounds. I'd rather want Manchester United to win more Champions League than Liverpool. Fuck no. Do I want Man City to win a Champions League? No, right? They don't deserve it, right? Liverpool are a more successful team in freaking Europe and it's going to stay like that.
The discussion is different
all right.
about those level of clubs compared to Newcastle and Sunderland.
Yeah, that's true.
Anything.
That's true. But I just feel like losing on the final day of the season is worse than losing the Champions League final, because at the final you can say at least we made it.
I think
Whereas that season is just absolutely heartbreaking. All those months of hard work just gone to waste. Like, it's just
I know it reminds me of
too much to take.
this FM player who lost on the last day.
Oh my days! All right, you know, for those who
Wow,
don't
you
know,
FM wanker.
For those
That's
don't know-
why. A bit of
For
background.
those who
Go
don't know
on,
what
Jeff.
we're talking about, yeah. For those who don't know what we're talking about, we a few lads did a group save on Football Manager a couple of years back, and Daud, Qudema, and myself were part of that save, and we all picked the big six, the top six in the Premier League, and went about our way, and we all pretty much faltered, and there was a lot of laughter, apart from Qudema, who actually got to the final day of the season within a chance of winning the league. And can you remind everyone what happened, please?
all I needed to do was draw on the final day of the season,
Which team were you again? It was
and I ended up losing.
City.
I was Man City,
Yeah.
and I ended up losing, I believe, in the last 10 minutes of the game against Arsenal from a corner. And, yeah.
Damn.
He was top.
It was-
He was top of the
It still
season
is
for ages.
the lowest point in my life. To be honest, it doesn't get much lower than that. Anyway, moving on.
You should have listened to
the
me.
next, would you rather?
You should have put your centre forward, the tallest guy, up front for the last 10 minutes and played
My
route
centre
one.
forward was up front. You mean my centre back?
Centre back. Sorry, I'm just laughing. That's why.
Genius tactic.
All right,
We've got the
moving on.
false tens and the one centre forward to play up front from Daud. That's a genius tactic.
Yeah, Steve Bruce needs to, learn from
What can I
Dowd's
say?
FM
What
saves
can
for
I
sure.
say? What can I say? For me,
Okay,
it would be.
moving on to the next one. Oh yeah, you haven't answered. Sorry.
All right.
Go
I
ahead.
mean, we could just skip past it if you want.
No, go for it.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say, do you remember when loads of United fans were coming out and saying, "Oh, we'd hate Liverpool to win for the Premier League. We'd rather see Man City win it." Which, at the time, I was so conflicted about it. And honestly, even on the Man United fan channels, a lot of fans were saying, "Oh, we'd 100% rather see the Blues of Manchester win it than the smug Liverpool fans." And to be honest with you, I then remember when Aguero scored on the final day and obviously clinched the title from us. I'm a bit conflicted. However, I'd rather lose on the last day and then see my rivals lose the Champions League and then laugh at them. Personally, that's just me though.
That makes sense.
Well, fair enough. I guess I'm the odd one out in this one. All right, so back to the perspective as a footballer. Would you rather score 15 goals in one season and get 0 assists, or would you rather assist 25 goals and score none yourself? Dow, do you want to go first since you went last time?
You see, to be honest with you, whenever I score goals in real life, I usually score absolute bangers. So 15 bangers, potential
What goals do you
potential
score?
Puskas. I'm gonna go with that, because I just with my track record, I think I could probably get a Puskas YouTube hit probably a viral video somewhere. So yeah, 15 goals for me.
Is the position striker? Is the position striker?
No, I'm a defender, so even
yeah,
better.
Yeah, let's go from the perspective of a striker for sure.
Well, I don't want to be a striker who scores no goals in a season. That would be tragic. Everyone will think of me as a playmaker, which if that was my position, fair enough. Nah, I'd go for the 15 goals, man. You can't beat the feeling of scoring a goal on 5-a-side. So imagine what that feeling must be like on top-level professional football. And I want to get that feeling 15 different times. Yeah, assisting is fun, but I'm just going to imagine that someone else on the squad is taking care of that with my 0 assist. I don't need to give anyone the ball. Let me just score the goals. That's definitely what I'd go for.
Yeah, fair enough. Ali?
Well, there's no chance I could snap someone's legs off instead. Get like 5 red cards or something. I'd prefer that.
Ali's out here saying, would you rather be Lee Cattermole or Lee Cattermole?
Man, Lee Cattermole wants to be me, man. Right? He looks up to me. Those Mackhams look up to me. Right? Let's not talk about them. But no, in all seriousness, I want to obviously score the goals because that's who gets the glory. You know.
Yeah, I agree. You know, the team can help themselves. I'm out here for myself. My career's short. I don't want to be remembered as some guy that didn't, especially as a striker who went a whole season without scoring. But yeah, okay, on to the next one. Would you, so back in the, you know, in the fans' eyes, would you rather go to 25? Okay, this is pre-COVID as well. Obviously now this question wouldn't really work. But would you rather go to 25% of your team's games each season and be unable to watch the other remaining 75% in any way? So no TV, no streams, nothing. Or would you rather watch all of them on the TV, but you're never allowed to go to the stadium again?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I mean, this doesn't really work. This doesn't really work for Wakar and Dowd because I don't think they've ever been to any of their team's home games, have they?
Correction, I've been at
What are you
Anfield.
talking about?
Oh, fair enough. Just Dowd then. Just Dowd. You know. Yeah, that's a tough one. Tough one for me. I don't know what I would go with. To be honest.
You're saying never go to the stadium again. That's a big one. This is the first.
But then you've missed out on 75% of your team's games every season.
Yeah,
Unable to watch
this is
them.
the first one you've got me properly conflicted, to be honest. But I want to see my team, so I'll probably go with the team TV option, to be honest.
Yeah. Ali?
You know what? TV option's great, but even when I've been to Newcastle games, I've been to quite a few Newcastle games. You can't beat the atmosphere. I kind of want to embrace that. Like, before I got married, what I would love to do is go to Germany, watch a load of Bundesliga games because the atmosphere is just crazy. So I'd probably go with the 25% of the games you watch live in the stadium rather than watching streams and whatnot.
Yeah, I agree. I think the feeling in a stadium is unmatched. And
It's unique.
yeah, definitely. And you know what? Is if I can't watch them live, you know, there's no one to say I can't, you know, watch them a match of the day. So
Dowd,
I'll just do that. I found myself a loophole.
Dowd, what's the Old Trafford atmosphere like in person?
You see, I haven't had the opportunity because, just life, it's just timing. However, I have watched Man United live in a stadium. Okay, if that counts.
In the Park, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. So
The new guy, isn't that the game where you lost 3-0 and Kabay scored an absolute worldie of a free kick?
Dowd, listen
That's
to
your
this.
only memory of watching your team live. Jeez,
No.
that's a sad one.
Dowd,
What?
listen
Yeah.
to this. I watched Liverpool and Napoli in Scotland. Just telling you that right now.
okay.
Exactly. A true fan will find a way.
I'm just
It's
saying-
not like we live too far away from Manchester either.
No, but I'm just saying, life
was next-
hasn't permitted me yet.
I thought Manchester
That's
was
all.
next door to
That's the only reason, to be honest with you. I mean, to be fair, I have been a bit. I've been looking into different ways to experiencing the match, watching it on the TV. So there's obviously Sky Sports 3D. I don't know if you've heard of that. That was quite entertaining. That genuinely feel like I was there. I don't know if you've got surround
Fair
system.
enough.
I genuinely, I heard Gary Lineker in the box behind me. That's probably because the camera was there when obviously it was a live match. So possibly, I'm just looking at other ways just to be creative. That's all.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what would you pick? What would you pick then? Watch it on TV or?
You can't pick anything, can you?
Yes.
Probably watch on TV.
Fair enough. Well, I've got more, but we'll save them for another time, maybe. And hopefully this whole COVID thing, gets sorted out soon.
Just
And
COVID.
fans will be back allowed into the stadium. But I'll hand it back over to Jaffa to wrap things up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even just COVID, it's just generally the lockdown, because, we can still record in the studio with COVID in the picture. But yeah, I do agree. I just want COVID gone, to be honest. That's the main thing. So thanks for joining us, lads. It's been nice to have a comeback, and hopefully we do get some additional guests in the future as well. We'll never rule that out to get some different perspectives. And it's been fun. Dowd, as always, can you let us know where we can follow the 343 Football podcast elsewhere?
Of course. So like Jaffa said, apologies if this episode doesn't come out as well. We'll obviously continuously be working hard to try and get it as studio quality as we have been. So it's just a work in progress. But yes, so the socials, as always, follow us and subscribe. Also share with your friends the YouTube channel, The Dressing Room. Also, obviously, on all major podcast hosting sites, so such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. And follow us on our Facebook group, where you can find out straight away when we post an episode. So it's just The Dressing Room, and on Instagram, The Dressing Room 9, and Twitter, TD Room 9. So yeah, thank you guys.
Brilliant, guys. See you next time.
Cheers. Thank you.
Adios.